Coach, can you begin by offering an update on Tom Pyatt's health?
He'll be day to day, so we'll see the rest of the day how he's feeling, and we'll reassess tomorrow.
What did you think of that hit?
You know what? I didn't see it at first, so I just saw it on video after. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I think. The league is looking at all these hits, and they're going to make their own assessment.
Mark, did you think it was a headshot?
Well, he got hit really high, so we'll see. We'll see what the league thinks about it.
Any update on Mark Borowiecki? Is he even skating yet?
You know, Mark is day to day. He was going to be on the ice yesterday, but because Harper is buying us time, then we've delayed it. So we'll see when we get back home.
Can you say on the ice meaning practice? Right?
Yeah.
You have history is on your side as far as teams coming back from 3-1. The Bruins have never done it, but it seems like the attitude of this team is always to block that kind of stuff out and just.
Oh my goodness. History. Couldn't care less about history. History is different people at different times, at different circumstances. So for us, it's all about us right now against the Bruins, and they've been a great opponent all year long. We're expecting nothing less the next game. We're expecting a one-goal game in overtime, and really we're just focusing on the first 10 minutes of the next game.
Now that you are 3-1 heading back to Ottawa, can you comment on how it feels to be 3-1 heading back to Ottawa?
To be honest with you, we talked about it with the players yesterday. We can't look at it as 3-1. That's exactly what we don't want to do. We need those 10 minutes of the next game need to be strong 10 minutes, and we'll manage the rest after. That's been our approach since training camp, and it has to continue to be our approach.
Is that the 10 minutes you got last night that you wanted?
Yeah, you know what, our third period, I think we went into the third period looking like ourselves. Maybe a little too excited in some parts of the first and second period. Guys wanted to get the goal right away. And, it hasn't suited us very well this year. When we start doing that, we open up the play and we run and gun it a little bit too much. And, we gave some breaks that we don't normally do. We got it closer and tighter for the third period, and I thought we looked like ourselves in that third period. I thought the third period of the first game, we didn't do that. We're too loose. And then the games after that, in some parts, we're too excited. And I think yesterday, coming into the third period, we're exactly the way we want to play this game.
Okay, what does have less lulls for you as a team? And I know the other team gets paid to play as well, so they're going to come at you at some point. But did you guys have less of that lull, if you will, that you've had maybe in different games going into yesterday?
No, you see, that's where you have to know exactly what's what. That's where the result tends to throw you in the wrong direction in terms of how to assess a period or a game. And the previous game, they scored 3 goals, but there was no lull in our game. And there was in terms of the result, and I mean that's how most people will evaluate it. But when you're coaching, that's exactly how you can evaluate it. And yesterday, for me, we had some lulls, and it was 0-0. But we had some lulls because we were getting out of what we were supposed to do, and we opened up some ice that we don't normally open up. And that's why in the third period that was consistent. That's us, and we kept them to 22 shots in their home rink, which is very good. And I think we're we're at about 24 in the playoffs. So I think we're doing a good job in that sense, and that's what's given us success this year. So we don't want to get away from that.
What does your experience tell you about elimination games?
I don't, you know what, I never see them as elimination games. And that's my experience. When I start thinking of that, that's where you guys get nervous, they get anxious, they want to overdo things, they want to get things done right away in the first 5 minutes. And you get totally lost in that kind of excitement. So for me, we're going to play another game, and it's going to be another one-goal game, and it's going to be extremely hard, and they're going to be at their most desperate. They were desperate yesterday. They're going to be even more desperate the next game. So we have to be extremely ready and prepared and aware.
Why have these games been all decided by 1 goal?
Because there's 2 good teams that are going at each other, and nobody wants to give up.
I know you constantly answering these questions, but the play Eric made on that goal, there doesn't seem to be too many people in the league that would have the presence of mind to make that play.
No, I think you look at the NHL, and there's a handful of guys that are able to make those type of plays. whether it's the the Crosbys or Johnny Tavares and those guys, or it's Eric. That's what makes them those guys. They're able to see through the traffic in times of pressure. Their minds seem to be working either faster than everybody else, or they seem to be able to slow down and the pace of the game in their minds to a level that not a lot of guys can do.
What was the message to Ryan Zengo and scratch him at the start of the series?
When I scratched him, I didn't say anything. After I scratched him, we talked. Now we talked about his involvement, his physical involvement. We talked about being able to pay the price, because as we moved along here, my experience told me that the playoff hockey is another level, not in X's and O's. It's the same game. It's the same game you've been playing all year, but the intensity is higher. The experience comes into play. The maturity comes into play. And at that moment, I felt I needed some older guys that had more experience so that he would sit back and look at how the things are evolving. And we reflected on his involvement around the opponent's net, his involvement on the boards, his maturity with the puck on under pressure on breakouts, his maturity on zone entries, and when he came back, he did exactly that. So he's been playing really, really good. So he's been able to sit back and watch the other guys do it, and being able to reflect on our conversation once that game had been played, and he's answered the bell absolutely. Yesterday was a really good game on his part.